let's play with some makeup, shall we? I'm going to show you guys how to contour. So if that's something that you struggle with, I will show you exactly where and how to know where to place it. So using my Saint palette here, I've got everything I need in this palette. So if you guys want help picking any colors, just let me know. But the contour and highlight are what make your foundation with this line, and it's cream base, so it's really easy and forgiving to work with, especially if you're a beginner. So this is called the detail brush, and I'm using this larger end. I like to use this one to contour because it just really, the purpose of contouring is to create a bone structure, accentuate your bone structure, minimize things that we kind of want to like take the focus off of, right? So if you have a really tall forehead, then you'll want to come down further. Also, I'll show you all of those as I go. So I'm going to start with my forehead here and then just contouring in my hairline. I'm going to drag this brush just like that along my hairline. And I don't get very much on this brush, and it's going to look scary before I blend it out, but it's okay. So just bringing that down to my temples. And then this is where if you have a longer forehead, you can shorten it because contour creates shadows. So you can shorten it by bringing the contour down a little more to make more of the focus right here when we go in and brighten with our highlight. Now on your cheekbones, the purpose of this is to lift our face, and this is what makes us youthful and makes everything seem supple again, right? So, or maybe not again, maybe you're still supple, I don't know. So anyway, you're gonna find your cheekbone here, which usually starts right by your ear, and follow this. However, so just find that hollow there, but you don't wanna start here with your contour underneath that bone because that's too low. So what you're gonna do is just find that hollow and then apply it just slightly above, but then going more towards your temple rather than dragging it back to your ear. And then I'm gonna stipple. So just starting, just because I'm so familiar with this process by now of where to start, I'm gonna go right here. And then this part, I mean, you could stipple, you could swipe if you wanna blend it a little bit more. But I wanna end just underneath that cheekbone. So see how that just helps lift this side of my face. So on this side, I'm so bad at getting these sides even, but same thing. And you notice I'm not coming in super far either. We don't want the Morticia Addams look. And if you do, more power to you, girl. But for every day, probably not. So for a Halloween costume, that would be awesome. I was actually Morticia Addams one year because my husband's a huge Addams Family fan. So get those as even as you can. And then see how it's more toward my temple, so then it lifts all of this. So I'm gonna blend it, so don't get scared. And with the contour in this line, since it's cream and it blends so well, you're going to want to go heavy with your contour. So that's the number one thing I tell all my clients when they send me a selfie, because I can't see the contour. So you need to go heavy with it because it blends out so well. So now I'm kind of just gonna connect that back here and then go down my jawline. So the trick here, I have a really strong jawline, so I come up on this back part of it just a little bit more because it kind of, see how it just slims my face a little bit there? So if you have a narrow jawline and want to make it appear a little bit larger, then you probably don't want to come up on the side, you're gonna want to come down on the bottom more. Now, if you have gels right here, you're gonna wanna, I'll show you an example. If you just wanna come up a little bit on those, because see how that, even though I see them starting, but they're not bad. So that just makes that appear a little bit lifted. So that's the purpose of contour is shadows. We want to create shadows and kind of minimize the appearance of certain things, and then we want to bring certain things forward, which is where we come in with the brightening highlight to bring that stuff forward. So then I'm just going to bring a little down my neck. I just got a microneedling procedure done like a week ago, and I have broken out so bad. It's like this huge purge that your skin does for a week after, but then after that, it's so amazing. Nose contour I like to do after I do my highlight because I don't want to cover it. Now I'm going to get a little bit of the contour on my finger too and just apply that right here underneath the center of my lip, so that makes it appear a little bit fuller. Now I'm going to switch brushes. So these are my two favorite brushes that I use every day. Everything's double-ended in our Saint line. And this is the blush and bronzer. And I'm going to go in and apply my highlight with this smaller side here. So, and this time I'm using this color here, which is, for me, it's amber. So highlight and contour are what I would need to help color match you for, because everything looks much darker in the tin than it looks on your skin. So that's what I'm trained to know and help you with, and can color match you based on a selfie. So with this, I'm going to apply everywhere that I did not apply my contour. So we're just painting my numbers essentially. And again, not using very much product because you don't need to. So we tend to, you know, with other makeup lines, use a little bit more in this than what's needed. Another common mistake. So just know that a little bit goes a long way. So when you get your tins and you see the size of them, don't be discouraged. Your highlight should last you 2 to 3 months. And if it goes quicker, that either means you just like full coverage, or you're probably using too much. If you feel like it's cakey or anything, you should not feel cakey. You should not feel this makeup on your face. And then for my under eyes, I'm going to use that same color and just use my ring finger to apply that underneath here. I do have a video on under eye coverage if you guys need a little bit of extra coverage and kind of how to determine that, but that's also something I can help you with too when I color match you. But the application techniques you can find on my channel here. Okay, so now that's mapped. Now I'm going to go back to this brush and do my nose contour. So with my nose contour, I could use the same contour that I used here, but I really, really like this lighter one called Henna. And I'm dipping the corner of this brush into that. And then I'm just going to kind of stamp that on right here. And that's going just on the bridge of my nose a little bit. This side's rough because I have a bump, so I have to be really careful, and I usually have to go in and add a little bit more highlight on this side to not accentuate that. This side's a little easier because I don't have that. And you guys don't forget to blend your nose contour. It drives me nuts when I see 2 lines down people's face. That's not natural. We want it to feel and look natural. And then connecting it at the bottom here. Well, I guess makeup isn't really natural, but you know what I mean. And then now I'm taking a brightening highlight. So the one that I use is right here, this one called Sunlit. Looks really yellow in the tin, but neutralizes really well with redness. And it's a great brightening highlight too. So I'm just doing that right down the center of my nose, putting a little bit on the center of my chin, and then I'm going to go back to my brush with the side that I used my other highlight on and just put a little bit right here in the triangles underneath my eyes. When you're using this makeup, if you look ridiculous before you blend, then you're doing it right. So now I'm just going to put a little bit of that brightening highlight right here, right on my Cupid's bow and upper lip. Again, that's creating a little bit more fullness. And then I'm going to go to my sponge. Best sponge ever. So this, they're gray now, but with this, I have it damp. So it's about half the size when it's dry. I get it soaking wet and then I wring it out in a towel so it's damp. The way you can test that is you want to run it through your hands like this, and you don't want any residue. So you don't want it dry because that's going to remove too much, but you don't want it too wet. You don't want it soaking wet because that will also remove too much. So this is just blending it out and making this product feel like a second skin. And if you've watched my videos before, you know that I mentioned I'm oily, so I do use a setting powder by Tarte. The one that Saint has is just not quite strong enough for me, but does work if you just want to get rid of the cream feeling, because this makeup doesn't dry like a liquid or powder foundation. So if you want it to feel more like a traditional foundation, then you can use a setting powder. So if you're dry or combo skin, then the One by Saint works really well, because you don't necessarily need it for oil control, but I need major oil control. So the One by Tarte works just as amazing. It's actually the best one that I found. So now what I'm doing is being careful not to drag this down when I'm blending too. So I'm pushing upwards on my cheek there. So I want to blend up just like when I was applying, right? And then the reason that this contour seems really dark in the tin, and it even seems really dark on, but when I put my setting powder on, it kind of hides that color. So I don't want to blend it out too much, and I like to apply it just a little bit darker, so that I don't lose that contour when I apply my setting powder. And then I also really like this color because it has kind of a red undertone, which I have a lot of redness in my chest. So it really ties everything in wonderfully, so it doesn't look like I have a floating head. And then don't forget your jawline. And then for powder, I'm going to go back to the bronzer and blush brush and use the larger side. And then this is the Tarte Smooth Operator Setting Powder. So I'm going to concentrate the majority of this in my T-zone, where I get the oiliest, and then whatever's left on my brush, I'll use to blend out. Also, because this is the areas that I brightened too, so concentrating the majority of the powder in that area helps to keep it bright and not cover my contour or anything else too much. Look at that, blended out so well, huh? And then you can see dimension in my face, so I'm not matte like when you go in with a liquid foundation. I almost pulled my earrings out of my ears, that's awesome. With a liquid foundation, when you just, it's all one color, and then you have to go add in the contour, and like, I just could not do that. It was way beyond my skill level because I would end up putting too much, and then I have to wipe it all off. Where this, with the creams, they're so forgiving and easy to work with. So if you put too much, it's so easy to blend it out either with your brush or just go correct it with a little bit of highlight. So if you feel like when you blend, you've drugged down everything down too far, you can just do this. And I didn't even apply anything else on here. I'm just using what highlight was left on there. So yeah. Let me know if you guys want help with your colors. Thanks for watching, and I will finish this look in other videos. We'll do an eyeshadow look. I'll finish the blush, lips, we'll do eyes, all of it. It's gonna be lots of fun. So let me know if I can help you guys out. Shoot me a DM or go to virtualcolormatch.com, and I would be happy to color match you through there. That's gonna go straight to my inbox so that I have your selfie. You can upload everything there. It'll show you what I need, and then I can get back to you with your colors.